what we came to do. Just worship God in this place. Because He's worthy. We did not come here to spectate, but we came here to participate in an active worship session unto the King. Because He's worthy. Because He's worthy. He's so worthy. Hallelujah. And Lord, we love you more than anything, God. We love you more than anything. More than our houses, more than our cars, more than our jobs, even more than our loved ones. Lord, we love you more than anything. Because if it was not for you who was on our side, where would we be? Lord, we love you more than anything. Come on, just sing your own song unto the Lord this morning. Sing your very own song unto Him. Hallelujah. Just worship Him on this morning. We just want to say that we love you more than anything, God.
Many of us men, we just got back from a men's conference in Dallas. And man, we worshiped and we worshiped and we worshiped. But there was a young psalmist there by the name of Wes Morgan. It touched my heart. He says when he was young, his mother would take him to the church, and she was a church musician. It was a small church. And she would sit him on the organ, and he would sit by the organ, and she would play the old songs. He said, and Mama would cry. And she turned around to him and said, son, worship is a choice. She says, worship is not predicated on how good you feel. Worship is not predicated on how good your job is or how good your marriage is. Worship is predicated on how good God is. And even when you're going through something nasty, even when you're going through something distasteful, even when you don't feel like lifting your hands, if you really love God, you will go ahead and worship Him. Come on, somebody ought to say, if you take my voice, I'll worship you with my hands. And if you take my hands, I'll worship you with my feet. And if you take my feet, I'll worship you from my soul. And if you take my soul, that means I'm absent from the body and I'm present with the Lord. And so regardless of whatever I'm going through, I choose to worship. Oh, I wish I had 10 people who were going through some things in your life right now and just make the devil mad and tell him, God is still worthy to be praised. I don't feel like lifting my hands, but Come on, somebody didn't get it. Somebody didn't get it. Let me go deeper. Somebody didn't get it because, watch this. They were talking about the lion. Pastor called Pastor Rodriguez talked about the lion. And see, the lion is the king of the jungle. But this lion had gone into a new territory. And the lion got ambushed. Anybody feel like you've been ambushed? They ambushed him. They ambushed him. They jumped on him, and he fought with all of his fervor. And he fought, but it was too many of them. And they hurt him, and they wounded him, and they thought he was going to die. And he was laying there on the ground, and he couldn't even open his eyes, and he was hurting, and he was at the verge of death. And he had all of his stuff on side of him that he'd accumulated for his family, and he didn't want to lose it. And all the other animals were coming in for the kill. He thought they were going to kill the lion. But see, when you're the king of the jungle, when you really know who you are, and you really know whose you are, they said they came in for the kill, and the lion could not move, but the only thing he could do was roar. And the lion let out one big roar, and the roar said that I'm not dead yet. And the man said that as long as he was not dead, they could not take his stuff. And I don't know who's trying to take your stuff, and I don't know who's trying to take your joy, but I know one thing, you ought to let out a roar to let the enemy know that I'm not dead yet. Come on, you ought to tell the enemy you should have killed me when you had the chance. Come on, somebody shout, God, you're worthy to be praised. Come on, bump your neighbor and say, I still got my roar. I still have my roar. They might have took some stuff from me, but I still got my roar. And as long as I got my roar, that means I'm still alive. And if I'm still alive, then there's still a chance for a comeback. And